This is Trooper's second stay and train session with me. The goal today is to get him more comfortable with me and to point out some common body language signals in a fearful dog. This is Trooper in the daycare pens before I started working with him. You can see he is generally just a happy guy. He's relaxed. We're not seeing any body language at all. He has a loose tail, loose body, loose ears. He's very happy and comfortable with the other dogs. And when we start kind of coming in as people, you'll start to see some more fearful behavior. Care girls are also actively trying to get Trooper comfortable with them, so anytime he's near them and his tail is happy and relaxed, they will feed him treats. Slow it down a bit. There's your avoidance, paired with his ears back, paired with a whale eye. And we have a lip lick paired with a whale eye. Just to help you guys kind of recognize it, again, it happens very quickly, so anytime it happens, I'm going to slow it down, dissect it, and then move on. So Kelly is the only person in daycare who can touch Trooper so far. You can see all of the other girls are doing a lot of work to get there, but Kelly is very soft-spoken, she is very gentle, and she always has treats on her. So for some reason, he has accepted her and he allows her to pick him up. He doesn't like it, and I wanted to show you the body language that he exhibits when she is going to try and catch him, but he does allow her to touch him without too much fuss. So here we are in our training pen. I am going to work on most of the same that I was doing last time, which is trying to get him comfortable around me, trying to get closer to me, him choosing to come closer to me, not me pushing onto him. And I'm also going to play some of my pattern games, which is if he chooses to look up at me, I toss a treat at him. My goal is not to touch him today. My goal is to create positive emotional responses to new people, me, instead of his negative emotional response that he has now. So all I'm going to do is toss treats in every time he looks at me. I click it and I toss a treat in. Then I just walk away. If he chooses to come with me and follow me, I click it, toss a treat in. Eventually he'll be right beside me, walking really nicely with me, and you see that later on in the video. He starts getting really close to me, and I celebrate those small successes internally. I don't want to get too excited and scare him. I am just very patient, tossing treats in, making this process as fun and positive as possible. So here's some more subtle body language signals. His legs are back, ready to flee, and he's actually avoiding eye contact with me by moving his head left and right after every treat. Most people would think he's just looking around, but he's actually avoiding any eye contact for fear of confrontation. He doesn't want to fight, he doesn't want to bite me, so he's very clearly looking away every time he takes a treat, as if to say, I'm not going to give you eye contact, I'm not ready for this level of connection, and I'm going to look away so you really understand that. So for humans, a look away would be us like looking left or right. For dogs, a look away is a very clear head turn, so we don't see their eyes at all. And that's the same signal I want to send to him. So anytime I want to avoid eye contact with him, I fully move my head away to the left or the right. I'm going to jump into my pattern game. I'm just going to walk in circles around him, not really giving him any eye contact, not really talking to him too much. Every time I walk by and he looks up at me, I'm going to click and reward it. So he's actually starting to sniff me and interact with me a little bit. You can see him sniffing my leg. Every time he sniffs my leg, I click it and reward it. If you look at the way I'm positioned, I am positioned backwards. I'm not in any way facing him, which can be really confrontational in dog language. So I'm letting him sniff me from behind, which is his choice. So I'm never going to stick out a hand towards him like most people do. Everyone wants to stick out their hands or present their hands to let the dog sniff it. But he can sniff me from many feet away. He does not need my hand to sniff. And with a fearful dog, sticking out your hand towards them can be, again, very confrontational. And a lot of people get bit that way. So I recommend ensuring people do not reach towards him. If he wants to sniff them, that's great. That's his decision. And you're going to be way less likely to get a bite that way because he is choosing to go up and sniff. And I am tossing a treat in when he does that. So of course, most people aren't going to know to toss a treat in. They're not going to know how to interact with him. So you just have to be really careful in how you allow people to walk up to him, how they talk to him, how close they are to him, and what you're doing in order to reinforce what you want. So every time he sniffs, I reward him. If he were choosing to sniff a stranger and he just gave them a little sniff and didn't bite them or snap at them, you would click that and reward that. Always toss the treat kind of away from the person. So if he wants to come back into the person and sniff them again, that's his choice. If he wants to stay back, that is also his choice. And we just need to tell people, sorry, he's fearful, can you not pet him? And most people are really good with that. Also really want to watch the leash when he is around a new person. His number one space creating behavior to avoid confrontation is avoidance. He runs away. That is his space creating behavior. That's how he avoids conflict. Again, dogs are fight or flight. So if he feels like he can't run away, if he feels like he can't avoid the situation, he's going to bite. So we want to be his advocate when he is around new people. If there is nowhere for him to go, and you're starting to notice other signs of fearful body language, lip licking, whale eye, head turns, paw lifts, anything like that, you need to get him out of there. So that is where you take the leash, you turn and say, come on, let's go this way. You don't want to have a treat necessarily in that moment. You just need to create space for him to let him know you don't have to bite this person because I'm going to get us out of here. So then he starts to lean on us for that trust and he stops leaning on the immediate bite to get the person to leave. Essentially, he's thinking, I can't leave. I'm on a leash. I'm frustrated, I'm anxious, and I can't get out of here. So I'm going to make you get out of here. So I'm going to snap at you and potentially bite you. We just need to be very hyper aware when he is on a leash or if he is behind any sort of barrier and he doesn't have the ability to avoid. We really have to be aware of our surroundings, how people are interacting with him, and how we can get him out of situations if he doesn't have that choice. Back to our training session here, I want you to notice his back legs. They're no longer in flight mode. He's just kind of standing neutrally. He is looking at the daycare dogs and listening to the daycare, but he's also just taking treats from me. We still have a dropped tail, and he is still avoiding eye contact, but we no longer have those back legs, which is telling me he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable. He's not 100% there, but we're getting there slowly. So all I'm doing in this exercise is every time he looks at me, I click and reward. He doesn't have to give me eye contact. I am getting fleeting moments of eye contact, which is amazing, but I'm not forcing him to look at me. If he chooses to look at me, I click that and I give him a treat. Again, this is all about choice, not force. I also want to, every time he does look up at me, I'm darting my eyes away or I'm looking away as well. So even though it looks like I'm looking right at him, I'm avoiding eye contact. I'm not doing it super obvious, but I am. If he looks up at me, I click that, but then I move my eyes away right away because I want to tell him, good for you, that was great. Good job looking at me, but I'm also not here for any sort of confrontation or conflict, so I'm moving my eyes away right away. I'm also really happy with his choice to sit with me. Dogs that are really fearful are always going to be in a stand so they can run away as fast as possible. Him sitting tells me he's getting comfortable with me because it's harder for him to get up and run away when he's in a sit. It's even harder for him to get up and run away if he's in a down. He does go into a down for me later, but him just being in a sit, I'm super happy with that. I'm still going to reward him for looking at me. I click it and I toss a treat in. When I'm getting up, I toss a treat away from him so he's eating the treat while I get up, because I don't want him to misinterpret me getting up as a conflict, as in I'm going to get up and grab you or anything like that. So when I was getting up, I tossed a treat away and then I got up and walked away. So we're seeing softer body language already. His tail is still dropped, but his ears are spending more time up facing me than they are away from me. He's still doing avoidance, moving his head away. He's still backing up a little bit, but what I'm doing is stepping into him, clicking and rewarding. Backing up a little bit, stepping into him, clicking and rewarding. So kind of counter conditioning the way he sees people approaching him, from I need to bite that person to, oh, this might be a good thing. So I step in, I click and reward. As long as he didn't look scared, I clicked and rewarded it. And then I backed right up again to show him that I wasn't going to force myself on him. I'm back to my pattern game. You'll start to notice that he is getting closer to me. He's letting me walk up to him and he's actually stepping into me instead of avoiding me. And he's taking a treat right from my hand instead of me having to toss it a few feet away. I'm not always going to expect him to take it from my hand. If he's right next to me, I will offer it to him, but if he wants to stay back, then I'm just going to toss a treat into him. So remember, the goal of the pattern game is to make a predictable, fun, and easy game for him to rely on in uncertain situations. Because I'm a new person, he has absolutely no idea what I might do, and that is very scary to him. So I want to make sure that everything I'm doing, from the first time I meet him to the last time I meet him, is very predictable and easy for him. So he knows that all I'm doing is walking in a circle. He understands that if he looks at me, he's going to get a click and reward. So because that's very predictable, because it's very simple, he now feels the ability to be able to interact with me because he can predict what I'm going to do next. I'm never going to reach towards him. I'm not going to push him in any way. So he's kind of thinking, well, maybe I'll give her a little sniff. And when he does that, I click and reward it. I don't move in to pet him. I don't talk to him. No sudden movements. So he's feeling more and more comfortable with interacting with me. So of course we can't expect random people to do that with him. So it's our job as the trainer or the owner or the handler to create this predictable game. So when you are around strangers, this is something you can jump into when the environment is really chaotic. And again, chaotic situations are very normal to us, but to him, he feels very insecure about it. So that's when people are moving around. That's when kids are around or dogs, just when things are unpredictable to him. He never knows what's going to happen next. So then we jump in with our pattern games to teach him that regardless of the chaos that's going on, this is something you can rely on and focus on that's fun and easy and predictable. I'm going to go back to just sitting with him, very nonchalant, not moving too quickly, not talking to him, not forcing him to come in. And I'm going to click and reward him for making any interaction with me, walking towards me, looking at me, sniffing me, anything like that. I'm clicking and rewarding. I'm also rewarding right out of my hand, but you'll start to see him sniff me more and be closer to me. And he actually starts to offer me behaviors like a sit or a down, which again is showing me that he's starting to get pretty comfortable with me. So he's doing really well, but I want you to watch what happens when I look at him in this next clip. I look at him, he looks away. I look at him, he looks away. Right? And that's what people do to dogs, is they lean down, they look at him, and the dogs look away like, oh, I don't like that. That's confrontational. I don't want to fight here. I just want to lay here and get some treats from you. So that's a really, really amazing clip and an awesome depiction of avoidance and avoiding eye contact from strangers. And because most people are like, oh, I'm great with dogs. I love dogs. Dogs love me. They keep pushing themselves into him because they don't know what an avoidance dog behavior looks like. And because that behavior was ignored from him, he feels the need to now bite. What I think Trooper would do if I did keep pushing myself onto him is he would get up and leave. If he was on a leash, he would bite. So just be aware of that. You need to watch his body language because people aren't going to know what to look for. So look for his avoidance, look for his other body language like the drop tail, like moving away, the paw lift, the lip lick, moving his head away. All of those are warning signs that he is not comfortable, and if those signs are ignored, he's going to move in for a bite. So in this next clip, Trooper is looking really happy and confident with being right in front of me, but I want you guys to try and pick out the little subtleties of why I haven't tried to pet him yet. What signals is he giving me that is telling me he's not ready to get touched? So if your answer was whale eyes and avoidance head turns, you are correct. He's giving me a ton of whale eyes and a ton of avoidance, and he's even giving me a couple lip licks. So even though he's laying beside me and he looks pretty comfortable, he's given me a ton of signals that tell me he is not ready to be touched. I need to wait until those signals have subsided, and he's actually looking like he wants me to touch him before I move in for the pet. When I do move in one day, hopefully, I'm going to pet very quickly and slowly, and I'm going to pet in areas that aren't too scary, like under his chin or on his paws, and then I'm going to click and reward. So this is me putting the leash on to get him back into daycare. Normally he'd be running away, but this time he stands and just watches me. He lets me slip it over his head, but then I get a lot of scared signals. I'm getting whale eyes, I'm getting lip licks already. Whale eye, lip lick, avoidance, trying to run away, but he can't, so he's given me 3 or 4 whale eyes in there. I'm gonna get a couple more lip licks. He's on a leash, he can't avoid me, so now he's getting scared. He definitely was not comfortable with me having him on a leash, but he let me take him back into the pens. He was giving me warning signals the whole way there, but once I got him back into the pens, he was happy, tail up. He was happy to be back with his doggy friends. That's just one of those things that I had to do to get him back into daycare, but he was very clear in telling me that he was uncomfortable. So just really watch this clip. He gives lots of warning signals in this short, like 10-second clip. Just so you can know what to look for in these situations. And I don't know if you noticed, but when the leash came on and he felt that tension, his anxiety went way up. So he gets barrier frustrated very quickly, again, because his number one space creating behavior to avoid conflict is avoidance, and he can't do it on a leash, so then he gets really anxious. So just watch for that. Try to keep the leash always loose when he's around new people, and always make sure you can get out of the situation if he doesn't have the choice to avoid like he wants to.